My childhood sweetheart, who grew up with me, was suddenly confessed to in public by a transfer student, and instead of helping, I hid nearby and enjoyed the show. Ignoring her pleading looks, the little rascal pinched my waist red, and puffing with anger, said she'd have a son for me someday just to punish me. By Ningbing, I like you. The transfer student, and Lan, spoke loudly, loud enough to make everyone halfway down the corridor turn and look. He braced one hand against the wall, striking what he thought was a cool pose, while holding a bouquet of roses in the other. By Ningbing rolled her eyes dramatically. She could not even be bothered to look at Lan. Her gaze found me over Lan's shoulder, with a hint of desperation and a touch of disgust, and an unmistakable message. Hurry up and deal with this nuisance. I folded my arms and leaned leisurely against the opposite wall. I did not move, because I knew my Ningbing did not need my help at all. Sure enough, By Ningbing finally spoke. Her voice was crisp and icy. Who are you? And Lan's smile froze instantly. I am Lan, the new transfer student. He could not seem to believe By Ningbing did not know him. After all, he had the kind of face that made every girl at school scream. By Ningbing drawled though. Never heard of you. You are blocking my way. And Lan's face turned from green to white. Suppressed snickers came from the crowd. He took a deep breath, apparently trying to save face. Ningbing, do not be like this. I know you are shy. Be my girlfriend. I will treat you well. By Ningbing looked as if she had heard the funniest joke in the world and laughed out loud. Are you out of your mind? Why would I be your girlfriend? Because you are that ugly? Or because you are absurdly full of yourself? And Lan's expression completely fell apart. By Ningbing gave him no chance to speak. And another thing, do not call me Ningbing. It makes my skin crawl. I will say this one last time. Move. Her presence was so intimidating that Lan instinctively pulled his hand from the wall. By Ningbing did not spare him another glance and walked straight toward me. She naturally linked her arm through mine and tilted up her little face. The icy expression she had worn moments ago instantly transformed into a radiant smile. Fang Yuan, shall we go home? I smiled and ruffled her hair. Then my expression twisted in pain. By Ningbing pinched the soft flesh at my waist and twisted. Why did you not help me just now? Ow, ow, ow. Let go. I was wrong. I will help next time. We walked past Lan as though he did not exist. I could clearly feel his jealous gaze, practically nailed to my back, trying to steal my girl. He was dreaming. By Ningbing and I had been together since birth. Our fates were bound together. We were neighbors and classmates and best friends. More importantly, our parents had arranged our engagement before we were even born. There had only ever been the two of us in our world. This little episode did nothing to affect our mood. On the way home, By Ningbing kept complaining. What is wrong with that guy? I met him for the first time today, and he immediately came to confess his feelings. He even tried to pin me against the wall. Honestly, it was so cheesy, and that bouquet was hideous. I listened to her complaints with a smile. All right. Do not waste your anger on someone like that. I pulled a lollipop from my backpack, unwrapped it, and held it to her lips. She took it in one bite, her cheeks puffed out like a little hamster. She spoke around the candy. Her words muffled. Strawberry is still the best. You do not think he will bother me again tomorrow, do you? Looking at her adorable expression, my heart melted. Do not worry. You have me. I thought a setback would make him tone it down, but the facts proved I had underestimated his shamelessness. The next day, at the school gate, and Lan's sports car hood was covered with roses, arranged into a giant heart. He wore a white suit and held a guitar as he sang and played beneath everyone's gaze, performing a painfully cheesy love song. When By Ningbing and I reached the school gate, this was the sight that greeted us. By Ningbing's expression was impossible to describe. She grabbed me and turned to leave. We will use the back entrance. I did not move. Instead, I caught her hand. Why should we hide? He is the one who should hide. I pulled By Ningbing along and walked expressionlessly toward the center of the crowd. And Lan's eyes lit up when he saw us, and he sang even more passionately. He even shot By Ningbing a sleazy look. The girls around us erupted in screams. By Ningbing nearly threw up. I stepped directly in front of By Ningbing, blocking Lan's view of her. And Lan's singing stopped abruptly. He frowned at me. Who are you? Before I could answer, By Ningbing poked her little head out from behind me. He is my fiancé. And who are you? How dare you howl here first thing in the morning? Do you not know you are disturbing everyone? She emphasized the words my fiancé. The surroundings fell silent, and every eye turned toward Lan and me. Although we were inseparable at school, our classmates had only guessed we were dating. No one had imagined we were already engaged. And Lan's face turned ghastly. Fiancé. By Ningbing, stop joking. What era are we living in? You still believe in arranged marriages? I like it. What is it to you? Fang Yuan is 10,000 times better than you. Now take your flowers and your lousy car and get lost. Get out of my sight. And Lan was too furious to speak. It was probably his first time meeting a girl like By Ningbing, who refused to play by the usual rules. The girls he had met before, even when rejecting him, had done so politely. None were like by Ningbing. She was practically a human insult machine. Humiliated and enraged, he turned his attack on me. You are Fang Yuan, right? Look at yourself from head to toe. What makes you worthy of Ningbing? Can you make her happy? Can you buy her a sports car? Can you buy her designer handbags? I laughed and looked at him, as though he were a joker in a deck of cards. So your logic is, that money can buy everything, including someone else's feelings. Sorry, but our Ningbing is not that cheap. Besides, I paused and stepped forward, leaning close to his ear. I whispered so only the two of us could hear. Who told you I cannot give her those things? And Lan froze. He probably had not expected me to say that. I patted his shoulder. Do not take everything for granted. The world is far bigger than you imagine. With that, I ignored him and led by Ningbing through the crowd and into the school. Behind us was Lan's face, dark enough to drip with gloom, along with his red sports car and roses scattered everywhere. It all looked like one enormous joke. Once we entered the school, by Ningbing finally broke and burst out laughing. Fang Yuan, you were so cool just now, especially that last line. You looked unbelievably cool. She lowered her voice, imitating me. Who told you I could not? Haha. I shook my head helplessly. You are such a tease. Still, he should not bother you again, right? By Ningbing thought for a moment. Hard to say. I think that guy is a bit of an idiot. He does not look like someone who gives up easily. I frowned. By Ningbing was right. Someone like Lan was used to getting everything he wanted. The more unattainable something was, the more he wanted it. This would not end easily. Sure enough, and Lan began his relentless pursuit. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night text, flowers delivered to our classroom, and public confessions with giant banners. By Ningbing threw the flowers into the trash and blocked every message from him in front of the entire school. She tore his confession banner to pieces, adding one final remark. If you are sick, get treatment. Do not come here and act crazy. The entire school treated it as a joke. An overconfident transfer student trying to challenge the school's beloved childhood sweetheart couple. Yet every setback only made Lan more determined. He probably thought I was standing in his way. So he turned his attention to me and began trying every cheap trick he could. He would casually mention me in front of Bai Ningbing. Fang Yuan was talking to a girl from the next class yesterday. He looked so happy. Bai Ningbing kept working through her exercises without looking up. I sent him to ask her for notes. That girl is a top student. My Fang Yuan looks handsome whenever he smiles. And Lan's face went green. Then he would offer another helpful reminder. Ningbing, do not always make Fang Yuan bring you breakfast. It is too hard on him. He queued up to buy your favorite pan-fried buns and was late for morning study. Bai Ningbing finally set down her pen and looked up, staring seriously at Lan. He is my boyfriend. If he does not work hard for me, who should? He buys me breakfast, and I help him with his homework. That is only natural. You, on the other hand, are sticking your nose into far. Why are you so nosy? I sat beside her, peeling an apple, while enjoying the shifting colors of his face. What a show. I cut the peeled apple into small pieces, speared one with a toothpick, and held it to Bai Ningbing's lips. She opened her mouth and gobbled it up, her eyes curving into crescents. So sweet. Watching her, my heart melted. Bai Ningbing had always known how deeply I loved her, and always returned my love in the most direct way. Those petty tricks, with her, did not even make a ripple, but in Lam was like a weed that would not die. After failing to drive us apart, he changed tactics again, and started playing fake and innocent in front of me. Fang Yuan, you treat Ningbing so well. I envy what you'd have. I just think a wonderful girl like Ningbing deserves to be loved by more people. I do not mean to ruin your relationship. I just cannot control myself. What the hell? I nearly smashed the book in my hand into his face. Was this grown man seriously pulling this act on me? Before I could speak, Bai Ningbing's icy voice came from behind me. If you cannot control yourself, stay far away. If you cannot control your eyes, shut them. If you cannot control your legs, get yourself a wheelchair. Need me to help you? And Lan's face went from white to green, then purple. He had probably never met a girl as fierce as Bai Ningbing. He stammered, Ningbing, I did not mean it like that. I just like you too much. Bai Ningbing gave a cold laugh. Your feelings are so cheap. They are like flyers handed out on the street. Who wants them? She walked to my side and naturally linked her arm through mine. The ice in her eyes, when she saw me, instantly melted into warm tenderness. Come on. Let us go home. My mom made your favorite sweet and sour ribs today. I nodded and let her pull me away. I never looked at Lan again. There was no need. My girl had already handled all my trouble. Only after we were far from the school gates did I stop and turn to look at her. Ningbing, you were amazing back there. She proudly lifted her chin, like a proud little peacock. Of course. Do you know whose girl I am? Do you think just anyone can covet me? He should take a good look at himself first. I could not resist ruffling her hair. You are the best. She swatted my hand away. Do not mess up my hair. But despite her words, the corners of her lips kept rising. I knew she was happy, and so was I. Nothing compares to being chosen so unwaveringly. After being put in his place that day, and Lan finally stopped harassing Ningbing, I thought he had finally given up, but instead he turned his attention entirely to me. One day after school, he blocked me right outside our classroom. His expression was serious. Gone was his former flippant manner. "Fang Yuan, we need to talk." I raised an eyebrow. "I have nothing to discuss with you." I was about to leave, but he stopped me. "It is about Ningbing." I stopped. "What do you want to say?" Looking at me, he said each word carefully. "You do not love her at all." I froze for a moment, then laughed in anger. "What makes you say that?" "Because you are to calm." And Lan was getting worked up. "I have pursued her for so long, and caused all this trouble, yet you have not reacted at all. You just watched like an outsider. If you truly loved her, you should have rushed over and stopped me when I first confessed to her, instead of acting like nothing happened." I looked at him, and suddenly felt a little sorry for him. "So in your world, love is proven with fist and interference? Love means acting recklessly without caring about consequences." My questions left Lan speechless. "That is not what I mean. What I mean is, you should show some possessiveness. Show that you care. The way you act only makes me think you do not care if someone steals her away." I shook my head. "You are wrong. It is not that I do not care. I trust her. I trust Ningbing as much as I trust myself. I trust her character and her choices. I trust that our bond, built over more than a decade, cannot be shaken by anyone's cheap tricks. My calm is not because I do not love her. It is because I trust her completely. You will never understand that kind of trust." After that, I did not look at him again, and walked straight past him. He did not stop me again. I could tell. My words had shaken him deeply. When I reached downstairs, Ningbing was carrying her books, waiting obediently for me beneath the shade of a tree. The moment she saw me, she smiled. "Come on, let us go home." Sunlight fell across her, wrapping her in a golden glow. She looked beautiful. I walked over and took her hand. Let us go home." The next day, he came again. This time, he chose an even more public place, the cafeteria. "Ningbing is so outstanding, so brilliant. She should be on a far bigger stage, not trapped by you in this tiny city. I can take her abroad and show her a more exciting world." "What about you? What can you give her? You only want to keep her tied to your side, using your so-called childhood bond to shackle her future. That is not love. It is selfishness." He spoke with such righteous conviction, as if he were the prince saving the princess, and I were the dragon holding her captive. Before I could speak, Ningbing slammed her chopsticks down on the table. With a deafening crack, the cafeteria grew much quieter at once, and everyone turned to look our way. Ningbing shot to her feet, and glared down at Lan. "Lan, are you out of your mind? And you are seriously sick in the head. My future, my life, where I want to go, what I want to do, those are all my decisions. Who are you to tell me what to do? You call Fang Yuan selfish, but you are the selfish one. Every word you say, under the excuse of caring about me, is only to satisfy your pathetic ego. You do not understand me, and you understand Fang Yuan even less. What gives you the right to spout such nonsense?" Ningbing's voice shook with anger, and her eyes had reddened. My heart ached, and I rose at once, pulling her behind me to protect her. I looked at Lan, my gaze turning cold. "Lan, I will tell you one last time. Stay away from my Ningbing. Make her angry again, and do not blame me for what happens." My voice was not loud, but everyone around us heard every word clearly, and Lan's expression was awful. He had not expected Ningbing to react so fiercely. He had expected even less that I, always so calm, would say something like that. He gritted his teeth. Fang Yuan, do you only know how to hide behind a woman? If you are a man, face me in a fair contest." At last, he showed his true intentions. I gave a cold laugh. "Compete at what? Who can make Ningbing angrier?" "Then sorry, you win." Laughter broke out around us, and Lan's face turned dark red. "Do not get cocky. I heard you are good at basketball. Let us play basketball. One-on-one. Whoever loses stays away from Ningbing forever." His voice echoed through the cafeteria. Everyone around us was stunned. Deciding who a girl belongs to with a game? Ningbing's expression changed too. She gripped my arm tightly. "Fang Yuan, do not listen to him." I gently patted her hand to reassure her, then looked at Lan. There was no trace of mockery left in my eyes, only an icy chill. The basketball court was packed with people. At the center were the school's most talked about guys. One was Lan, the rich heir who had suddenly arrived and become the school's heartthrob. The other was Fang Yuan, the top student in the grade year after year. And Lan had changed into professional basketball gear and was warming up on the court. He performed all kinds of flashy dribbling moves, drawing shrieks from the girls nearby. He reveled in everyone's attention, as though victory were already his. Ningbing stayed close beside me, her face full of worry. "Fang Yuan, are you really going to do this? Let us ignore him and go home, okay?" There was a faint tremble in her voice. She was afraid. Not that I would lose, but that I had been dragged into this absurd situation because of her. I stopped. Turning around, I looked seriously into her eyes and gently smoothed the crease between her brows. Ningbing looked up, her eyes shimmering with tears. Do you think I will lose? She froze, then shook her head fiercely. No, my Fang Yuan would never lose. I smiled. There you go. Trust me. I took her hand and led her onto the court. Every eye instantly turned toward us, and Lan stopped dribbling. Holding the ball, he looked at me smugly. What is it? Finally decided to show up. I thought you were too scared to come. I ignored his taunts and walked straight to center court. I cleared my throat. The whole court fell silent. I looked at Lan. Then I swept my gaze over everyone around us. Lan, I had no intention of accepting your ridiculous challenge, because this stun alone makes it impossible for Ningbing to like you. I paused, then raised my voice. She is not an object. Why should a game decide who she belongs to? What do you take her for? My words were like a heavy hammer, striking hard against every heart. Ningbing's eyes reddened at once as she looked at me, her gaze brimming with emotion and pride. I continued. I could have ignored you completely, but I do not want anyone saying Ningbing has poor taste. I do not want them saying the man she loves would not even accept a challenge to stand up for her. I cannot let her face any criticism because of me. So, I accept your challenge. Thunderous applause and cheers erupted across the court, and Lan's face turned extremely grim. In just a few words, I had nailed him to the pillar of public shame. Before he could argue, I spoke again. But I, Fang Yuan, will never use my Ningbing as the stakes in any contest. She is the treasure I will protect all my life, not someone you get to lay claim to. And Lan, do you still dare to play? If you still consider yourself a man, then change the stakes. I had backed Lan into a corner. If he refused, he would become the laughing stock of the entire school. He gritted his teeth and forced out the words. Then what stakes do you want? The entire crowd focused on me. I looked at Lan's face, twisted with rage. My heart perfectly calm. Simple. Whoever loses, in front of everyone, must tell the winner, I'll admit you're impressive. And after you lose, do not bother us again. Everyone was stunned by those terms. What kind of wager was that? And Lan looked at me as though I were an idiot. But I knew the words. I'll admit you're impressive. To someone as conceited as him, those words would weigh more heavily than any punishment. The boys around us began jeering and egging Lan on. If you are a man, do not back down. The girls, meanwhile, came down firmly on my side. Fang Yuan is so cool. That is real respect. Why would I be afraid? And Lan roared back. Fine, we will do it your way. Fang Yuan, just wait. You will be the one telling me. You are impressive. I took off my school jacket, revealing a white t-shirt beneath. Ningbing ran over at once and gathered my jacket and backpack in her arms. She whispered to me, Fang Yuan, you can do it. But it is okay if you lose. Even if you do, I love only you. No one can take me away from you. I pinched her cheek. Silly girl. With you saying that, I cannot lose. I turned and walked onto the court, and Lan was already waiting for me with the ball. 1-on-1. First to 21 wins. Everyone at school knew I was first in our grade and assumed I never played sports. As I picked up the ball, I said calmly to Lan, who told you that good students cannot be good at sports? People like you, who judge others by stereotypes, are destined to lose. What followed became a completely one-sided rout. He could not stop my offense. He could not break through my defense. The score reached 19-0. Ningbing stood at the sideline holding my close. Her smile held both pride and concern. I had match point, and Lan was exhausted to the point of collapse. He braced both hands on his knees and gasped heavily for breath. Do you still want to play? My voice was perfectly calm. He looked up, unable to accept defeat. There was anger too, but more than anything, a sense of helplessness. He forced out a single word through clenched teeth. It was the last of his dignity. I nodded. I chose the most direct way to end the game. I stood 2 meters behind the three-point line. The entire court erupted in an uproar, and Lan roared and charged at me like a madman. 1 second before he reached me, I jumped. My body stretched out in the air as I flicked my wrist. The basketball traced a perfect arc, with a crisp, satisfying swish. It went cleanly through the net. The court erupted in unprecedented cheers. Fang Yuan won. A long-range three-point game winner. I landed slowly and turned around to walk toward the girl at the sideline. Her eyes were red as she threw herself into my arms. I knew you were the best. Holding her tightly, I whispered in her ear, I won. Let us go home. The crowd gradually dispersed, and Lan sat in a daze at center court, utterly devastated. Ningbing and I were holding hands and preparing to leave when he suddenly spoke. Fang Yuan, why? Why do you have everything? You could have crushed me with your skill from the very beginning. Why wait until now? I stopped. First, my family background, grades, and basketball skills are none of your business. Second, The reason I let your earlier behavior slide was that, in my eyes, you were never worthy of being my opponent. The only reason I tolerated you was that Ningbing did not want to make a scene. But you should never have insulted her that way, or tried to use a game to decide who she belonged to. Do you understand now? There is an uncrossable gulf between you and me. It is the trust and respect built over more than a decade together. Those are things you can never give her. And Lan's lips trembled before he finally said despondently, Fang Yuan, I admit it. You are impressive. Without looking back, I took Bai Ningbing's hand and left. Fang Yuan, you were amazing. Bai Ningbing looked at me, her eyes sparkling. I was only protecting you. She smiled like sunshine after rain and rose onto her toes to give me a quick kiss on the cheek. Then she ran off, blushing. I will head home first. I touched my cheek and could not help smiling. We went to the same city for college and attended the same school. Distance did not dull our love. Instead, we became even more affectionate. On the day we graduated, I proposed to her. In the small apartment we had shared for 4 years. I dropped to one knee. Miss Bai Ningbing, will you marry me? She sobbed uncontrollably and nodded again and again. I will. Of course I will. At our wedding, I looked at her in her pure white dress and solemnly vowed, I, Fang Yuan, will love and protect you for a lifetime, never leaving or forsaking you. 2 years after our wedding, we welcomed a lovely daughter and named her Fang Ningbing. She inherited Ningbing's beauty and my intelligence, but took after Ningbing completely in personality. Lively, cheerful, and a little bossy. Promised to each other before we were born, childhood sweethearts. From school uniforms to wedding dresses, from the first flutter of love to our twilight years. How lucky I am to have a love that stays true from beginning to end. Thank you, my Ningbing, for life.